We have already gone through so many phases in the software development life cycle. The very first phase is the project startup phase, and in the project startup phase we'll be coming out with the project plan. We'll be coming out with the entire schedule of our deliverables. We'll be allocating resources and budget for a project. After this, what is the next phase? The next phase is the requirements gathering phase. And in the requirements gathering phase, we went ahead and gathered functional and non-functional requirements. We have documented them, and we have created an software requirements specification document. And from then on, we moved on to the design phase. And the design phase, we learned about so many different types of design, like architectural design, user interface design, modular design, data design. And we came out with a lot of models like UML models, class diagrams, sequence diagrams, state chart diagrams, data flow diagrams, entity relationship models. So all these models were given as an input to our coding phase. So in the coding phase, we went ahead and we implemented our code. We used some configuration management tools like GitHub for managing our code. So now we are moving on to the next phase, the software testing phase. And we have to understand what is testing first of all. Testing is the process of uncovering errors that is already present in our system. So what is this software testing or testing? It is the process of uncovering errors that is already present in our system. So we have implemented a system. Now we are going to test a system to see what are the errors in our system. Is our system really compliant with the requirement specification given by our clients? So testing focuses on quality control. So we give the word quality control, whereas these activities, we had reviews after each stage, right? So we had a review after our SRS, we had review after our design, we had code reviews and things like that. So all these reviews come under software quality assurance. So these reviews were conducted with the aim of preventing errors from further propagating into our other phases. So this was all these review activities come under quality assurance, whereas testing comes under quality control. Testing is a process of uncovering errors that is already now present in our product. So we'll understand what is testing first, and then we'll go ahead and understand software testing in today's class. We'll be looking at so many different types of testing. We'll also take a sample exercise and we'll see how to write test cases and test a particular software. So testing is not something new to us. We are all part of testing. We do a lot of testing in our day-to-day lives, and we'll take and understand testing from the automobile sector. So how the products in the automobile sector gets really tested. And why I've taken the automobile sector is it's a very familiar sector, and we'll be able to understand a lot of terms and terminologies in testing easily using this particular example. So let's take this example. So let's consider a car manufacturer. Let's consider that we have a car manufacturer. We can take any manufacturer here. Let's say we have a car manufacturer. To manufacture a car, this particular manufacturer procures raw materials or procures the independent components from various sources. Let's say he procures headlamps from a company X, he procures tires from a company Y, and he procures the engine from a company Z. So like that, he can procure the wipers from company A. So each independent item is being purchased from independent vendors. So these vendors, they will be supplying all these items to the car manufacturer. So we have to understand certain things here. Before the vendor, say company X, supplies this product to this manufacturer, this product will be tested. For instance, company X may test whether the headlamps are working in his facility. Likewise, company Y, before shipping the tires to the car manufacturer, they'll be checking for any defects or any problems with the product they are shipping. So each and every product is tested before it is being shipped to the manufacturer. Likewise, we have an engine which will also be tested, and wipers will be checked for any defects. So everything, every independent component gets tested and then it gets shipped to the manufacturer. So you can say, we can call this to be unit testing. Why we say this is unit testing? Because every independent unit is tested as such and it is shipped to the manufacturer. So once when the manufacturer gets all the items, what he's going to do is going to go and integrate these items, he's going to assemble these items and create this particular car. So you can see here, this is an assembly line and wherein they integrate all the items and then they finally get their product. So this product is directly from their assembly line. So once when they integrate this product, again they do a lot of tests in the firm itself. So after the product gets assembled, they do a lot of tests. I got this information from the internet. So I've got this information on what kind of tests are being done on a vehicle after it is integrated. So we can call this to be integration testing. So after the vehicle is assembled, they do a lot of tests, like wheel alignment tests are done, turning radius test is done, headlight test is done, side slip test is done, drum test and brake test. So all these kinds of tests are done after integrating these parts and making it as a car, and these kinds of tests are actually carried out in the firm after the assembly happens. So this kind of a testing, we can call that to be an integration testing. So we have learned two important terms in this slide. One is unit testing, wherein every independent unit is tested, and integration testing, wherein all the units are combined together and then it is tested. And we have seen some samples on integration testing in the automobile sector. So now the question is, will the tests end here? Can we ship this product to our customers? Or is there anything more? Should we test more? So if you are very interested in cars or automobiles, you would have known what are the kinds of testing and that's already happening in these areas. I have just got some of the tests that happen. For instance, terrain testing. They're going to take this vehicle and put that in various terrains like this. It's not that every user will be driving in all these terrains, but as a product, when we say this can be driven on this terrain, we should ensure that the product doesn't end up with any defects while it is facing that terrain. So these kinds of tests, mostly it comes under performance testing. So how the vehicle performs to different terrains, and this is another testing. This is called a tow test. This actually tests the load that vehicle can really tow. So this kind of a testing can also be called as load testing. How much load my vehicle can really take. And you might have seen this. They also go ahead with crash testing. So some of the units they're going to send and check how the vehicle performs in a crash test, and they give some star ratings to the vehicle, say out of 5 how many stars your vehicle gets. So this defines how safe your vehicle is. So why we do a crash test? It's not that every person who travels is going to end up in a crash. It's like when a failure happens, how what are the safety features and how these safety features really act in terms of a failure. So we need to even test that. So we go and crash test vehicles, we give ratings to the vehicles, and this is another very important feature you have to check while you're buying a vehicle. So what all we test as a system? We are testing for performance, we are testing for load, we are testing for recovery. So we test for these things as an entire system. So these kinds of tests are called system tests, and the process of performing system tests is called system testing. So we have understood many terminologies in these two slides. One is unit testing, wherein we test it as an independent unit. Next is integration testing, wherein we integrate and we do some tests. After that, we do a lot of system testing, wherein we check for the performance, we check for the load, we check for the recovery. So all these tests come under system testing. I hope you are clear with all these terminologies right now. So the next question is the testing done? Is it done? Will the customer really come and buy this product after all these things? So there's one more level to this, that is the user acceptance testing. So whenever you go and visit a showroom, you will see a test drive car. I've taken this picture from the internet, and this is the picture of a test drive car. And why we have a test drive car? When a customer comes in, we'll be giving this car for him to test drive, so that he can take this car, he can drive, he can feel the comfort, he can feel the performance. He will be testing the car on its own. So it's the customer who is testing the product, and this is called user acceptance testing. So you'll be looking at various factors while he's testing. For instance, the usability, the performance, the fuel efficiency, the comfort offered. So all these features is going to test, and only when he is satisfied, only when the customer is satisfied, he's going to go ahead and purchase this product. So the final level of testing will be done by the customer who is interested in your product. So the various levels of testing we have seen so far is unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and finally user acceptance testing. Frankly speaking, there is no end to testing. You cannot really test a car in all these kinds of scenarios, in all the kinds of terrains, with all the parameters put together. So every time a customer takes the car out, he is really performing some kind of testing. So every time you take your vehicle out, it's going to be in a different terrain. We're going to have so many different parameters like temperature, humidity, rain, everything affecting your vehicle. So every time you take it out, some kind of testing happens in the vehicle. So testing is an endless process, but since we cannot test it across all these parameters, we limit and we focus on certain critical parameters and we test. So I hope you all have understood the different levels of testing, and now the question is how to test software. See, we are interested in software testing, so we should really wonder about how we are going to test the softwares that we are going to build. Software testing again takes the inspiration from other fields of engineering, so it's very similar to what we have seen in the automobile sector. So let's consider a scenario wherein we are having 4 programmers who are working on a software project. So we have programmer 1, programmer 2, programmer 3, and programmer 4, and each programmer has been assigned some coding tasks. Let's say that each programmer builds a function, or each programmer can be building a class. So they are like building independent parts of the software. Say programmer 1 builds function 1. So I have denoted a function like this. So this is function 1. Say he codes function 1. Likewise, programmer 2 codes function 2. Programmer 3 codes function 3. And programmer 4 codes function 4. So each one is working on independent parts of your software project. And once they are finished with the coding, what they are going to do is they are going to unit test. So each one will be testing whether their functions are really working fine, whether their functions satisfy the functionality mentioned in the requirements documentation. So they are going to perform unit testing. This is very similar to companies that unit test their products. For instance, a company that manufactures a lamp for your cars will be unit testing that product in their own facility. So this is really in sync with that example. So every programmer will be testing his own code. Once when all the programmers finish their code, what is the next activity? They are going to go and integrate. So each function will be integrated with another function. So there may be function calls, functions passing data between each other. So they are going to integrate all the functions, and then they are going to test it as a system. This is like assembling the car in the plant. So this is called integration testing. After unit testing is done, we integrate, again we test. What is it we are going to test? Whether all these functions put together satisfy the functionality as given in the requirement specification document. So the next question is, while we are testing, what if some errors are found? What if some defects are found? What we have to do? For instance, we try to integrate function 1 with function 2. Maybe there was a parameter mismatch here, or function didn't perform as per the expectations. How should we solve this? So once when a defect is found, the defect will be traced back to the programmer who coded this function. So who is the programmer who coded this function? So this is the programmer 2 who coded function 2. So the defect will be communicated to this particular programmer. So he is going to go and change, and he's going to make it work, and then again he's going to go with unit testing. And once when unit testing is done, again they're going to integrate all the functions and then perform integration testing. So until and unless all the bugs are fixed, they're going to continue this process. You have a defect, you go fix the defect, again you go and test. So we have finished integration testing. So are we done with testing now? No. So we have to go with the next level of testing, that is the system testing. So what do you mean by system testing? We are going to move the entire code onto the servers. So we're going to have a test server. This test server will replicate, or it will simulate. We can say it simulates. So that is, the test server simulates the actual real world environment. So we're going to push all our functions. We may use some test data here to test our system. So here we are testing the system inside a test server. So this test server will be actually simulating an actual production server. And who will be testing your code here? The programmers that you have seen, say we are core programmers. All the programmers will be handing over their functionalities to the tester. A tester is someone who is not part of the programming team. He can be even from another firm. So the programmers will be handing over their functionalities to the tester, and the tester will be performing the tests on the test server. So what is system testing? We move all the code that has been integration tested to a server. This test server is actually a simulation of the production server, and we are going to run a lot of testing as a system, as an entire system in the test server. So who will be running the tests? It will not be the programmers who coded the system, it will be independent testers. These testers can be from the same firm where the programmers are from, or they can be also an independent firm. So this is being done to have a third opinion on how the system really works. So what these independent testers will be testing? So when you say system testing, what these independent testers will be testing in your system? They'll be checking whether all the functionalities of your system are as per the software requirement specification document. They'll be looking at the performance of your system. They'll be looking at the load that your system can support, or number of simultaneous users that your system can support. They will check the recovery time needed for your system in case of a failure. For instance, if you have an hard disk failure, if you have a data loss, how much time it requires for you to recover from that failure. Usability of the system, how user friendly is your system, and whether the system is portable across different operating systems. Say if you're building a portable system, is the system really portable across different operating systems? For instance, sometimes web applications should be tested across different browsers. As a system, what is the behavior of your system across different environments should also be tested. In short, we can say the independent testers will be checking whether your system is compliant with the functional and non-functional requirements that you have given in your software requirement specification. One thing we have to keep in mind, the system testers are not programmers. They are not part of the programming team. They don't have any idea about what kind of code has been written internally. They will not look into the internal structures or details of your code. They will just test your system as a black box. So after system testing, we have the next level of testing, that is the user acceptance testing. So what is user acceptance testing? The clients, they are the actual people who will be using your system. For instance, if you're creating a bank management system, the bank manager is the actual user, the bank customer is the actual user. So we'll be calling them to test a system on the test server. So what is user acceptance testing? Client verifies whether the functionalities are as per the requirements that he has given. What are the expectations for a system to clear user acceptance testing? System should be free from all the major defects. All business functionality should work fine, and all stakeholders should accept the system. It's not just one stakeholder. All the stakeholders who are using the system should accept the system. So user acceptance testing is the final level of testing, wherein the clients come and verify whether your system is proper, whether all the functionalities are working proper before moving the system to the production server. So these are the various levels of testing in software testing. So what are the levels? It's unit testing, integration testing, system testing and acceptance testing. We have also went through what are the various activities that we should perform in these levels. I hope you all have understood these levels of testing.